Hello and welcome back to another video feature of the Immersive Worlds Handbook. Today I'm giving you an overview of the exciting new Fear the Walking Dead survival immersive experience in Fremont Street, of course in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let me say today there will be some spoilers, and before I get to that point where I'm going to take you through my description of the walkthrough of the ride, I'll warn you. So if you're concerned about that and you don't want a surprise, you want to maintain the surprise if you experience this on your own, then maybe at that point you should pause or not watch anymore. So if you know about Fremont Street, this is an exciting area of Las Vegas that is undergoing renovation, development, a lot of new attractions. This is located right near Slotzilla, the giant slot machine that also has a zip line. So we're kind of just getting a feel of the location of where the attraction is. And as of this day here in August of 2017, the attraction is open, so you can certainly go and visit it. I was able to actually take part in a pre-screening. I had contacted Tech, the company, and they granted me an opportunity to visit, which was really exciting. So right there, you see the zip line, and there's also the queue line on the inside. There, that little fence on the left. It's actually the area right before you enter the ride. So you can see it right here. On the left, we have the area where you queue for Slotzilla, and then just on the right here is the Fear the Walking Dead. Eventually what will happen, and when I took this video, of course it wasn't open, is this front area coming around, you'll see, will be a gift shop and a merchandise shop, a shop where you can also get, so people are excited I was filming them there, but it'll be an area where you could get, Walking Dead stuff and also get your photos and so forth. And I think I have an image there. It's just right here where you go in and you see a little bit of the entrance area. I'm assuming that's going to look different since it's now open. I was again doing a pre-screening experience. So let me jump to my on-site video where I'm describing just what I'm going to be talking about in this video today. I am at the AMC's Fear the Walking Dead walkthrough experience, survivor experience. I had a chance to go through and get a pre-guest tour. Very cool attraction, so I want to talk to you about what this attraction is all about and give you a sense of how maybe this is one of those attractions of the future here in exciting Fremont Street in Las Vegas, Nevada. Okay, so we'll look at just some of the images I took, and you should know, I'll mention this later, but there are restrictions. You can't really do photography or video or smoking, of course, while inside the actual ride attraction itself. This is some of the area outside, and I think they did a nice job with really establishing this as a secure space and so forth. And the premise is that you're in a abandoned community college in Los Angeles, and the zombies have taken over there, and you have to survive and escape. If you know The Walking Dead, if you know the spin-off Fear the Walking Dead, very popular, and certainly this builds into that popularity. Zombies are, of course, fascinating as a horror genre, so I think we're already primed a little bit to enjoy what we're going to experience. This is the area before you go into the staging area. You could see here they did a mock-up of a person here, maybe was attacked by a zombie. You get cards when you enter. You're like in an orange group or a purple group. Our group had around 12 or so people in it. And we lined up, and this just shows you the pass you get. There's a military premise at the beginning of the ride, people in camo and so forth that take you through the experience. This shows you some video screen that's playing, talking about the riots breaking out in LA, so of course, predicting this for the guest. This is just from the website. If you're curious, you could go to the vegasexperience.com, and this shows you number of seats available for each time, and then you could purchase, it looks like 36 for every 20 minutes available. And then this has a description of what you have to do. You wear wristbands, and the wristbands will be important for a lot of the photography that you get, and you could see here it's about $30 per person. The company that makes this, based out of Canada, is Tech, and they were really nice to me as far as communicating some information about the ride before it had opened. And here is that wristband, since I just mentioned it. So you wear it, and the idea is that you can scan. I'll show you an image that I purchased, but basically you can scan right beside that Jeep that had the guy coming out of the window. There's a machine there. You take your picture, and then it records in the computer your unique identification with the QR code here. There's another spot inside the ride as well that involves, it's akin to a roller coaster photo. At a certain point in the ride, they take an image of everybody. Again, you do go through the ride experience in groups, and they were able to, I was by myself, and they were able to place me in a group. There are groups as large as 4. Essentially, the entire group goes together, so there isn't that much of you're not really tasked to do a lot. I'll talk about some of this when I do the walkthrough, but you can certainly go as an individual. You can go if there's 2 of you or 4 or whatever. So it's definitely something that can accommodate different groups of people. And as I'll talk about, there are different experiences within the Fear the Walking Dead survival experience. So I talked earlier about the premise. So this is the staging area, and again, once you go through this door, you can't take any photos or videos, so you won't see any of that. But basically the premise, again, you're at this community college, and you're going to deal with zombies and try to escape and do some various activities. One of the cool things is that they ask people to complete surveys, and they ask, for example, was the ride confusing? This has a list of the different rooms: scanner, escape room, shooting 3D zombies, elevator ride, and zombie maze. They have it listed as 5. I actually expand that a little bit in the walkthrough. There's actually more than 5 components to the ride. And this is just outside that has the logo and everything. And again, AMC is associated with this, so there's some cross promotion there. In the world of theme parks today, there's a lot of this transmedia going on where people are already familiar with the property, so therefore they will presumably be excited about what they're going to experience. And here is the image that I took at the end. You could see, I don't know if I really fit in, but anyway, it was $6.99 on sale, so I decided to purchase it. Now, this is the part, if you're not interested in ruining the experience for yourself, please stop the video now, fast forward to the end, or just stop it or whatever, because I am going to go through and talk you through with this chart I've created what the ride is like. If you don't want to do that, stop now to save the suspense if you decide to visit on your own. So we start at the bottom left. You basically start in the gift shop and you get your ticket. You then go into that pre-ride staging area, and that was the area where it had the sign for the community college. They have guides that take you through. In our case, there were 2 women who were dressed actors playing military personnel. And once you enter into the first area, they give you some directions. It's basically an office. And then after you go through that office, they tell you to line up numbered, I think 1 through 8, and it goes. They call it the sterilization chamber, and the assumption there is that you're being sterilized, maybe because of the, if you watch Walking Dead, no one really knows what causes the zombie outbreak. It's still something not determined really. So after you go through that, you walk through what basically looks like a dilapidated locker room, and I noticed. To my right, there was a guy who was kind of bloodied, and you could tell he was an actor, and he was slumped over in a chair. And it turns out, once you enter the next area, which is the screening area in the middle there, this guy eventually, this actor will play a part. So from what I can tell in this experience, there were 3 actors, the 2 military women, and then the guy playing the infected human who comes into play a role at the screening area. So the screening area basically involves, it reminded me of going through airport metal detection or the wave millimeter technology, whatever they call that. The idea is that they're scanning, and up on a screen, you go through one at a time. On a screen, they tell you the percentage of zombie infection in you. And based on that, they tell you to go after that into one of 2 almost like cage-like areas that are adjacent to a men's and women's restroom. So all the group goes through one at a time. They divide the group up into two, so each one goes into one of 2 cages. And then the zombie guy, who you discover slumped over, he starts trying to go through the scanner. There's a little scene that happens where they have a fight, and then at that point there's panic, and the military, one or both of the military women basically say, quick, quick, go through the door. So the group of, I think there were 4 of us in each of the 2 rooms, we go into the next room, and that's the escape room. So if you've done escape rooms, they're very popular. Whenever I go to IAPA, they're always screening new escape rooms. The basic idea is that a group of people are trapped in a room, and you get a series of clues, and based on those clues, you try to escape from the room. So it's kind of a basic premise. What happens is, before that, there's a silhouette. It reminded me of the silhouette in the Harry Potter train at Universal, if you've been to the Wizarding World. There's a silhouette of zombies, and a guy, military guy, presumably police, shoots a zombie in the head. And then a screen comes up, and there's a woman talking. I think it was pre-recorded. And she gives you, the group, 2 sets of instructions. The first is to find a breaker, and basically you have to press the power button. After you do that, there's a panel beneath the video screen, and she gives you instructions of a particular order of colored buttons: red, blue, yellow, and white, I think it was. After you do that a few times, you figure out the pattern. You then go into the next room, and I think, and again, this is from my recollection, I think there might be a corridor between this, but you may go directly into the elevator. So you get into the elevator, and that has the most like ride component, if you will. There's some shaking of the elevator. It's nothing like Tower of Terror or anything like that. It's not dramatic, but it's definitely a ride vehicle that has some suspension to it, and there's movement, and you get, it shakes you up quite a bit. I mean, it's not dramatic. It's not like, a big thrill ride, but it does have an effect on you. After you leave the elevator, there's basically, I guess they call it the zombie maze. And the curious thing for me during the whole ride was I never saw a zombie, like a zombie actor. And I thought, that's a little weird. You do see these like body bags almost. They're sort of cloth white. They look like cocoons more than body bags, but they're wrapped up. And at one point, you have to like push through these. And there was nothing, there was sound effects, there was a lot of lighting, but there wasn't any sort of audio animatronic, or there was nothing haptic like pushing back at you if you pushed one of the body bags. It was a pretty creepy experience, and the people I went through, I think had already been on the experience at least once. And, they were kind of scared, and it is a scary experience. It has that traditional haunted house feel, but way higher tech in terms of the technology, and of course there's also the acting, and there's the background story behind it. Someone had asked me if I thought it was similar to Disney's Haunted Mansion, and I guess I would say no, because Haunted Mansion is a traditional dark ride, and you're in a ride vehicle for the entirety of the experience. Same thing with the old, and I'm kind of disappointed, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is now the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sure it'll be great, but I love the old Tower of Terror because, again, that experience is so evocative, and it envelops you in this elevator basically that moves both vertically and horizontally. So this is not like that, right? I mean, in a sense, you're walking the whole time until the very end, the video game part. So it is unique, I think, and similar to haunted houses, but on steroids, a much higher version, higher tech, higher immersiveness, acting is better, etc., etc. So you go through the maze part, and then one or both of the military officers basically informs you that you have to escape, and you get in basically, like, it looks like a long truck or car. It doesn't really look like, it looks like basically seats that have sort of been made into a vehicle of some sort. And it was a little confusing. I thought there was actually going to be a seat belt, but it's not. The actual ride doesn't move itself. There's stuff on the screen, and just before this, you're given 3D glasses right after the maze. So one of the military persons says, put on the 3D glasses. So you sit in this vehicle, you have these light guns that are attached with a cord, and then you're basically told to shoot at the zombies. One of the things that I thought was curious, and again, some of this may have changed, so if things have changed since you rode the Fear of the Walking Dead survival experience or went through it, please let me know in the comments section so we can develop a dialogue. But here was the one thing I thought, unlike Disney's Toy Story, if you've been through that, it's a hybrid ride and video game. In that case, you actually get a score. And to me, this was a disappointment a little bit, because if I think, oh wow, this is exciting, I've got to really take out as many targets, and it's a very fast-moving video game. It's a little wow, it was a little too, visually stimulating for me at times, and it goes on kind of for a long time. But for me, if I'm playing a game, there's a quest, there's a goal, and I wanted to get a higher score, or I wanted to kill more zombies. And nothing like that is told to you. And I think what would be better for me is if, like with your wristband, or let's say there's an app, that would be cool. Use the app, and then the next time you could get a higher score, challenge yourself, challenge your friends, develop a whole social media app side of this, and that would be cool. But I want something in a video game like this, in a ride, that has a goal, that there's a quest, there's some purpose. I felt a little bit of a letdown because I thought, well, why was I shooting so fast, right? If we're really trying to escape the zombies, that was a little bit, I thought, of a letdown. After you do the video game, you basically exit back into the gift shop. You could purchase merchandise, which wasn't available then, and you can certainly buy your one of two choices for your photos, and there were two different sizes, and I think there were 7, 15, and maybe they're going to be twice that when the ride is now open. So I will say, and again, in these videos, I try to give you my objective take. Of course, it's subjective. We all experience things differently. It's a very innovative format, and I think it could be one for the future. Aside from the little issue I had with the video game scoring, my second issue would be I think they could develop the story a little bit more. I like a little more story when I experience something like this because I feel like I'm moving through something. They have setting, they have characters that aren't fully developed. There's 2 military people and this one guy, and then that's it. Again, there aren't any zombies, and that was a little bit of a surprise. And I guess for me, if there's a little more of a story that goes into it, like you get with some of the Harry Potter rides that you experience at Universal, that I think can go a long way with the guests. So some minor, corrections or issues just from my own experience. So this is, you could see here just Fremont Street on your right, and this is just as you exit the ride. And that kind of gives you a sense of, they did a really nice job at the queuing area. It'll be interesting to see how many people they can, what the throughput is on this particular ride or experience. I guess they were saying around 36 for every 20 minutes. So someone do the math real quick. I don't have my, well, let me hold on. Let's grab a calculator. Okay, so 20 minutes. If I'm doing my math right, I think that turns out to 108 people per hour. So they can definitely get a lot of people through. By the way, when I was watching the Viva Light Show, this particular ad came up, so check that out right now. So it's a pretty exciting ad, for this exciting ride, and I'm just doing my commentary here after exiting the ride. So again, I think what you see in this attraction is the excitement for the fan who loves The Walking Dead or who loves survival horror. I didn't talk about survival horror. The original, say, Resident Evil, before it became movies, was a survival horror video game, which is very similar, I think, to what you experience here with a few differences. But that is also part of the influence, I think, on this. I think in the future, via augmented reality, we could even see more closeness, more affinity to the original survival horror video games like Resident Evil. Different zombie franchise, but I used to play that game a lot when I was younger, so it reminds me, of that excitement of trying to escape zombies and deal with quests and so forth. So we leave the Fear the Walking Dead survival experience here on Fremont Street, and I'll give you my closing comments here, recorded on site in just a bit. I hope you enjoyed the video tour today here at the AMC Fear the Walking Dead Survivor Experience. A really cool immersive experience here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm sure is going to attract a lot of guests in the future, so please come back to The Walking Dead if you like the show particularly, and come back for additional video features of the Immersive World's Handbook.